Today I would like to talk about comparing. We actually discussed some of this it was more of a fun Skype with Lisa last night. We had Julie Rumbarger, we had um, Nikki Dobson, and our new friend Dimitri was on for the first time meeting Lisa. More laughing than anything, but it was something that kind of struck a nerve with me this morning to discuss. It seems we tend to make comparisons with everything. You're doing better than me. Well, your experience is different than mine. Well, we have the same experiences. You're my friend if you believe the way that I think. You're my enemy if you don't. And that's kind of the insanity of all this. What I have found in my experience is that whenever I am comparing or looking to say, well, did you have this experience in awakening, or did you not, or what was your experience here? It's kind of insane when you really think about it. Thinking again, but it's all just happening. It apparently looks like there's a cause and effect. I know many people have very similar experiences when this waking up from themselves apparently happens, but there is always, always, always many others who don't. That's because this is just happening. If it was the same for everybody, it would be truth. Truth doesn't change. Everything else does. That's the insanity. That's a part of the illusion, the just happening. And for the experience of Mike, it is only when I believe that something should be different. I didn't have that experience. Wow. What am I supposed to do? I should have had that experience. They had that experience. How come I didn't have that experience? That's the insanity. That takes you out of this truth. That puts you back into seeking, into striving. Comparing with anybody else always takes you back out of this. It is only when we can be in complete acceptance, exactly as it is. In my experience, that is what this is about. That's when this love consumes you. As soon as I step out and think it ought to be different, or how come I didn't have that, that's when suffering enters in. And that's the only time suffering enters in. If we can just stop the seeking, and that's happening perfectly as well. But in this apparent story of Mike, that's when I suffer, is when I'm in not complete and utter acceptance of what is. Whenever I compare myself to somebody else, how come I didn't have this? I had that experience, but I lost that experience. It's just an experience, nothing more. That's not what this is about. This is underlying those experiences. They're beautiful, don't get me wrong. They're absolutely wonderful. But these bodies apparently could not sustain those experiences and those highs. Everything in here is up and down. The only difference is when there's no attachment to it. There's no belief that I should be up here instead of down here. That stuff's going to happen. In the experience of Mike, it really levels out. There's very little highs, very little lows. It's just kind of right here. And a lot of people take that as boring. And I actually went through a stage where I felt that it was boring when it first started on. But it did change, and it just became this level. I can't take any credit for anything, but I also can't blame myself for anything. It's all just perfectly happening the way it's meant to be. Just wanted to talk about that. It's something that we all do. We all compare. And when we can stop comparing and see this as all just unfolding, perfectly happening, nobody doing anything, nothing to be done, that's when perfection can take over. I don't know if you guys can hear this. That's my Boston Terrier snoring. And that is extremely mild compared to his normal snoring. So anyway, on that note, I'm off and out of here. Enjoy.